Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server. We are with our Stalker, Tiger Shrike, 11,000,000.7 XP, 256,000 to go to get to level 42. We'll probably get there this episode. It all depends. But we are on a story arc for Madeline Casey. I just skipped one mission where she said defeat 45 carnies. I absolutely hate that mission. It is the worst street hunt mission in the entire game, because you can only find carnies in one little spot on Peregrine Island, and they only have 3 or 4 spawn points. And even if nobody's hunting them, they are friggin' impossible to find. So I skipped that. And now we are going to go on to the next mission in that story arc, where she says, I must apologize. I don't know what's gotten into me lately. I guess it's the thought that I was actually at the party while the carnival was killing people. It's messing with my head. Anyway, I appreciate your work. Now that we have the files of Nathan Crane, that's what we were looking for. We're doing the street hunt. We can go in and get them. Now that we know where the files are, we can go in and get them. So that's what we will do. You're going to notice I have some weird inspirations in my tray. Those are team inspirations. I got them from VIP rewards from doing the veteran thing. I've been just doing it because I don't see any reason not to claim the tickets as they go. And so I'm trying to clear out some of my email queue of all the crap that they give you. This windfall power, this is where you get more and better inspirations and salvage drops, and then this is XP boost, which we don't need, so I wish there was a way to delete these. There are also account-wide items. I haven't used any of those. I figured I might want to use them on another character at some point. Maybe at low level when we're having an issue or something. I don't need any help with Tiger Shrike right now, so we're just going to keep her as is. I have put a bunch of stuff in the vault, so at some point we are going to reach our max number of salvage, and I'm going to have to start selling things. I don't believe I yet have the ability to craft any of these invention enhancements. Oh, preventive medicine. That's the healing category. What does that give you? Lethal and smashing resistances, alright, whatever. Increased max health is not bad. I'd rather have increased regeneration. Fire and cold resistance, 3.7% reduced endurance cost. Now that is quite nice, and recharge time. Is that better than Miracle? Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I could see, and this has got recharge on, I could see putting this in something like instant healing, perhaps. The problem is it's going to slow. The problem with putting these sets in is they will give you the plus 100% healing that you get from 3 of these enhancers. They'll give you reduced endurance cost, which you probably don't need, but they're not going to give you plus 100% recharge rate. They usually give you about plus 75%, so that would slow these down. And we don't use instant healing as much as the others, so I could see maybe doing something like Miracle in instant healing, but I just can't see putting it in these powers because it's going to slow the recharge of all of these things. The only way it maybe wouldn't is if we put this one, right, this one has a 8.75% recharge time. If we put it on all of our healing powers, right, if we 6-slot all 3 of these and we have plus 24%, that will make up for some of what we're missing here, because we only get about plus 90%, 96% anyway. 2 of them is close to plus 70. You add the 24% character-wide bonus, and we could get them close to back to the way they were. But what we really need, actually, is accuracy bonuses, which neither of these give us. It's really more the attack powers that do that. Yeah. So we could make this one. I may have to start making them and just leaving them in here until we have enough to put a set in. I'm not going to put individual ones in as we go, because to me I don't think that's worth it. Alright, so we are in Brickstown, and we are looking for Nathan Crane's files. Yeah, so I don't really want to do sets with this character before 50. On the other hand, I think we really probably should bump our mission difficulty up to +3, and I don't want to do that until we have our accuracy bonus up higher, right? I mean, focus accuracy helps. Whoops. Focus accuracy helps, but it drains endurance really bad. Right now we have no endurance reducer on it. We will put a 1 endurance reducer on it, but we don't have the, this is so annoying here to try to get around all this. We don't have the, we won't have the spare slots to put a second slot on it for a while because other powers are far more important than focused accuracy. And I'm not sure I'm ever going to have a second slot to put on it because there are other powers that are far more important than focused accuracy. So we're just going to have to see. A little bit of a lag spike there. It felt like nothing showed up on the net graph. Alright, so our job here is to find Nathan Crane's files. And while we go, if you remember in a previous episode, there's a patrol right there. Let's take them out before they move forward. In a previous episode, I discussed how somebody on the D&D Beyond forum complained that he joined a group and the game group found out that he said, oh, you should watch Critical Role, trying to stay out of their AoE. They said you should watch Critical Role because he's a new D&D player and that'll sort of teach you how to play D&D, which, you know, as it kind of does and kind of doesn't, because Critical Role is a very specific way of... The people in Critical Role are actors. They're doing a show. They're not just playing D&D in somebody's basement. And so they don't play quite exactly the way you would play in somebody's basement. They're professional actors, and that is going to affect things. And that's fine. I'm not criticizing them. But he watched the show a little bit and didn't like it, and told his fellow gamers that he didn't like it, and they kicked him out of their game group. That was what he originally presented to the forum, right? Now, since then, there have been some clarifications. First of all, this was a group of people he didn't know very well on Discord. So, although they still shouldn't have just, you know, gotten mad at him because he didn't like a TV show, that was a mistake, but doesn't hurt us. That changes the equation a little bit, because I thought he was saying it was a group of sort of in-person people. That was Discord, and he didn't know them very well. But on top of that, then he said, oh, well, essentially they told him watch Critical Role, and then he said to them, I didn't like it, I thought it was a bad show. And they, I guess, were unhappy with that, and, you know, there was some grumbling, and he was like, okay, I'm not going to play with these people because they're mad at me because I don't like the show. So they didn't actually kick him out. He just felt uncomfortable being with them because of how they had reacted to him. Furthermore, as he's continued to talk in the forum, as you can post in the forum, I've started to gather that, well, you know, I hate to say this, but maybe D&D is not the game for him. He complained, for example, that the people on Critical Role... Did I get hit with that Psychic Visage? No, I didn't. It's pretty good. Keeping him away from me. The people on Critical Role essentially roleplay too much. In the very first episode, the characters... There are 7 characters. I mean, it's a large game group, right? Larger than... I think average is 5. It's a large game group, and there are 7 characters. None of the characters have met because it's the first episode. None of the audience has met the characters. And so, again, it's a TV show. You have to realize that not only are the players introducing their characters to each other for the first time, but they're also introducing their characters to the audience for the first time. So they take it really slow, and the characters individually start out like if I remember right, the Goblin and the Wizard are like sharing a room together, and that's how it starts, with the two of them waking up and talking, and they have like, I don't know, a 10-15 minute discussion about what should we do today, should we go shopping or whatever, and You know, the goblin says, you know, I might get the itch to take something because the goblin is a rogue, like a thief, right? And they do that kind of thing. And so they're sort of presenting themselves to the audience for the first time. And they know the audience will like this, right? Because it's an audience from the previous season. And they know what the audience likes, right? And so does the DM. And this continued for, you know, a couple hours, and the guy was like, I don't want to watch a bunch of people just sitting around talking. When are they, you know, they never got to, like, a battle. Well, they did get to a battle by the end of the show, but, yeah, it took a long time, right? Great. I love how even though she doesn't know you're there, she still goes D-solid. I just absolutely love that. So anyway, as he was continuing to post on the thread, you know, I think it's pretty clear he doesn't really want to play D&D. He wants to play video game, right? He even said that his experience... Here's the glowy of the files. His experience comes from video games like Baldur's Gate. And I guess he wants it to play like Baldur's Gate, right? And I said to him, yeah, but Baldur's Gate's a solo game, right? Everything in that game is about you and your character, but when you're playing with 6 other people, it can't always be about you. Sometimes it's about the other characters. And you have to recognize that you're going to be... the focus will not be you every single time. Look at this, City of Heroes, right? I'm playing this solo. But if I were in a group of 8, we would not be able to just keep doing my missions. We would have to do everybody's missions, and I would only get to do 1 out of every 8 missions in a row. And if you think about how long these missions take, if you're in a group, each one would take about a half an hour, let's say, give or take, and people have to go back and forth to go shopping and buy things, take breaks for bathrooms. A single team of 8 going on 8 missions would probably take about 4 hours, and that would probably be enough for most people to say, I need to stop. So you'd only get to do 1 of your missions. You might go first. You don't go, okay, we did my mission, guys, I'm out, and don't help everybody else, because they just helped you do yours, right? There's some give and take with role-playing games. It doesn't happen if you're single player, but it does happen if you're in a group. And I have the feeling this guy is just so used to the solo experience, he's expecting to get the solo experience in a group. That is not going to happen. So I suggested him he actually try some one-on-one D&D if he can find a DM to do it, because he might like that better. Because then it will once again be all about him, and there won't be any of this so-called quote-unquote role-play nonsense that he didn't like. Now again, I'm not defending Critical Role per se. I think he would say that if he watched my game group, or any game group, there's times when it's only about one character and everybody else has to sit there and be quiet. It's not always about you. Sometimes you're the one sitting there being quiet. And I don't think he gets that. So I was highly critical of his group before, but now I'm not so sure that they were entirely at fault. Anyway, let us go on. She says, based on the notes of Nathan Crane, it looks like the carnival's masks may hide more than just faces. They're linked to the carnival's powers. I need you to go to the carnival's base and recover one of those masks. Okay, and that is in fault line, so I will pause it here, and I will bring us back when we are at the mission door. Alright guys, we are back, and we are working on stopping the ring mistress and her minions, which my guess is going to turn into a defeat all, so we may as well kill our way in. So yeah, one of the things that people seem not to appreciate sometimes is the very strong difference between video games and tabletop games. And video games are designed to mimic in some ways the tabletop experience. They are based on the tabletop games, right? fundamentally, City of Heroes owes its lineage indirectly to D&D and directly to EverQuest, which owes its lineage quite directly to D&D, right? The pattern of development goes Dungeons and Dragons started things, then in the 80s, as online computer stuff began with modems and such, you got multi-user dungeons or MUDs, which were text-based. You know, it would just be like you're in a dungeon, the walls go left and right, you know, west and east. You type W, enter, and you type W and hit enter, and then you go west, and it says, okay, now you're in a room with an orc, and then you type attack orc and things like this. And there were text-based adventure games by Infocom, like Zork and Enchanter and Sorcerer and Zork 2 and 3, that did that, you know, sort of were the same, played by yourself, but people then turned them into an online experience called multi-user dungeons. And multi-user dungeons were around for a long time as text-based, and then with Ultima Online and EverQuest, you got essentially graphical MUDs, right, or multi-user dungeons. And so, I'm not waiting long enough to hide, because I'm talking. So you have these multi-user dungeons that then were made graphical by EverQuest, right? So it was functionally the same basic kind of code. It's just that instead of watching text, you were looking at the visuals, right? But it was fundamentally the same exact thing. And Ultima Online was very similar as well to MUDs. And so there was a lot of grinding and that kind of thing, looting and treasure and going into dungeons. And so EverQuest became a huge hit. Ultima Online was a big hit, and they had hundreds of thousands of users. And so other games like Dark Age of Camelot and Anarchy Online and Lineage started coming out that were very similar to EverQuest. They were all fantasy, maybe science fiction, right? Anarchy Online was sci-fi, but they were mostly fantasy. And they were mostly, like EverQuest, very similar to MUDs. And functionally, City of Heroes is very similar as well. There are some innovations, I've talked about those, but it's very, very similar. And the whole idea of City of Heroes was to do EverQuest in tights, essentially, to do EverQuest with superheroes. And that's really how it got its start. So MUDs existed because of D&D, EverQuest existed because of MUDs, and this game exists because of EverQuest. So all of these video games, whether they're online or single player, ultimately owe their lineage to Dungeons & Dragons, which is a tabletop game. But there are fundamental differences between how a video game plays and how a tabletop game plays, as well as just like there are fundamental differences between how a multiplayer game plays and how a single-player game plays. Now, one of the brilliances of City of Heroes, and this is absolutely true, is that City of Heroes was able to create a game that was a multiplayer game in the same way as any other multiplayer game, but also has a really solid solo ability. So this is one of the very few games that you can actually play much of the game, not all of it. There are things you cannot do by yourself, but you can play much of the game entirely solo or with a group. This mission is doable with any number of people from 1 to 7. And that was actually an innovation, really, for City of Heroes. Most MMOs didn't do that. Most MMOs... she went intangible. Most MMOs thought that because it's a multiplayer game, they had to require you to do multiplayer stuff, and that they would purposely make many aspects of the game that literally could not be solo. And they thought essentially it was their job to do that because it's a multiplayer game. You shouldn't be soloing it. Whereas City of Heroes kind of said, well, look, you can do it with any number of people you want from 1 to 8, and we're not going to dictate how many people you have to play with, which I like. And they came up with a spawning algorithm, a mission instancing system every time. Every time I get caught with that, I'm not even going to bother assassinating them anymore. I think I'm just going to hit them with focus to start with. It's also because I'm talking and not paying attention. But they, you know, basically the instancing system lets you go in it with any number of people, and you can succeed. As you can see, I've soloed this entire game. Right, this character's never grouped up with anybody. There was one mission, I think, that I was given that I had to abandon, where it said, I didn't read it carefully, and it said, you're going to need multiple people. And I usually ignore it when it says that, because I can do missions that they say you need multiple people, but in that one, you actually had to click on multiple glowies simultaneously, so you literally could not do it by yourself. But there was like 2 or 3 missions like that in the entire game as missions, right? The rest of the time, the content that's really locked to groups is more like task forces and trials. Those you cannot do solo, but you can still do all of your story arcs and everything solo, and you can get all the way from level 1 to level 50 no problem soloing. And when City of Heroes came out, I don't know if there was a single MMO in the world that you could do that in 2004. Let's go ahead and use our sturdy. It's bothering me to sit there, and it's sitting there. Placate. Alright, we're going to need instant healing on this. Probably, maybe not. Probably not. Probably didn't need it. We recover so fast with instant healing. If you can knock them down, then they just can't do enough damage to you to, they can't do enough damage to you to overcome the IH. And there we go. Found a clue. Found a carnival mask. A well-crafted porcelain mask that feels light as an eggshell. Out we go. Isn't this mask lovely? Oh, don't wear it. Don't put it on, Madeline. New contact. Don't put it on. She's going to put it on and get mind controlled. I actually don't remember if she puts it on, but I bet she does. Okay, we have time to do another mission, and we will level up. I've contacted Cadea Kestrel, the voodoo master. Would you be able to help? Maybe he'll help us unravel the mysteries of that mask. Would you pay him a visit? Sure. I will bring you guys back when we are with Cadea Kestrel. Be right back. We're back. The game actually crashed on me when I tried to zone. Not sure what happened there. Seems okay now. You can see we've got a red line there, but I think that's just the login line. Had to restart the whole game. Anyway, we're with Cadea Kestrel, and he says, so this is the mask? Yes, there's definitely some sort of strange energy. Require some time to plummet its depths while you're waiting. Will you please go to Peregrine Island and deal with the problem that's been troubling me? As usual, the Carnival is fighting the Rikti tooth and nail, and in their battle Peregrine Island. So now, look at this. Unbelievable. We got to defeat 45 Carnies and 45 Rikti. I'm not going to make you guys watch that. I will bring you back when I am done. Alright guys, I brought you back. We've hunted a few of these guys, but I brought you back because we're about to hit level 42 in the next maybe lieutenant or 2, so I figured you might want to see that, and then we will level up, and I will do the rest of this really annoying mission off screen. Alright, so let's go to the trainer, who is over at Portal Corp, and we will level up. And the rest of this nonsense, I don't know if I'm going to do it. I may just wait 3 days and clear it, because I hate hunting. I absolutely hate hunting Carnival in here. I think the problem is, so they're really only in this yellow and green area. There's hardly any in the green. There's some in the yellow. But I think they share spawn points with things like Nemesis and stuff. So what you have to do is basically beat up everybody in here until some carnies show up. That's just nonsense. That means not just defeat 90 guys, but defeat like 190 guys, maybe more. It's a waste of time. I'm not going to do it. So we'll level up, and then in 3 days I'll just complete the mission. Anyway, we're going to train up to our next level, and we get 3 slots. So I want to, integration is done. I want to finish slash and get a heal on instant healing. And now I'm going to go take care of my enhancements, and then I will show you our slotting. And then we'll be done with this episode. Well, we're back. We don't have our inspiration, or enhancements rather, because we have to do a quest for the store. So I guess I'll show you that. That's going to be infinitely more interesting than dealing with the carnies. Come on. There we go. So we have to dismantle an alien stabilizer. It would be really nice if this were Richte and we got credit for defeating the Richte in this mission, but I don't think that that's the case. Additionally, the Richte aren't the ones that I have trouble finding in here. It's almost impossible to find carnies. I don't know why they designed the zone this way, that you're going to have to defeat 50 of them, and there's only like 10 of them ever in the zone. Like, I don't understand that. Why would you design that? It's almost like they're purposely wanted to frustrate everybody. And I do know that everyone hated those carny street hunt missions. At least everybody in my guild. And what you would do is you would group up with 8 people and everybody would spread out and you'd all look for them and try to all get... Because it like, everyone gets credit for the mission if you do it. So as long as you're grouped up, if I defeat somebody, it goes off of your list too. So we need to dismantle this stabilizer. I don't know where the alien stabilizer is. Let's take a look up. This is a huge map. Don't know where the alien stabilizer would be. Alright, I guess we're going to have to find the limits of this map because I don't recognize this map. There are Richte on it. I thought this was the power plant map, but it does not appear to be. This is more of like a King's Row type map. This thing is huge. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand who thought designing missions to be this gigantic was a good idea. I mean, we can kill off some Richte here. Making sure that's not a Guardian. And let's see if it counts. Nope. It's got to be in Peregrine Island. So there's not even any point to defeating them. We're just going to look for the alien stabilizer. And I don't care if the drones see me, because I am too fast for them. Now, I don't know if it's going to be on the ground. I suspect it won't be, because there's roofs and walkways up there, so my guess is it's going to be up. But I just want to see, as quickly as possible, how big of a zone are we looking at here? Okay, so this is the size of the zone. Time to go up. There, Richte on the walkways. Now you can't go up too high, because if it is down, the item, the glowies sometimes are invisible from too far away because of the level of detail. I really would wish I had super jump or flying instead of hover. I know I did it to myself, guys. Okay, yeah, I don't know where this alien stabilizer is. Alright, I'll keep looking for it and I'll see if I can find it. I will bring you guys back when we found it. Okay, we've got it. Here it is, little computer, flashing in a corner. And we've completed the mission. Out we go. Found a recipe. Orange one. Let's see what we got. Performance shifter. That is an endurance mod. Power probably won't need it. Because we're not going to 6-slot our endurance mod. There's just no way we're going to have the slots for that. Alright, so, whoops. So now we are going to go back to the mission guy, who is also the store, and hopefully he will sell us our enhancements. Hopefully he's not going to make me do a whole story arc or something. Yeah, this is, unfortunately, this is one of the things the developers put in the game that I think most players really didn't appreciate, and to be honest, I don't. I want to go buy my enhancements. I don't really want to do a quest right now, right? And the fact that you have to do essentially a nonsense quest for this guy, that quest was utterly a waste of time. Click on one glowy and fight 100 Richty while you're doing it. There's no story to it. It's not part of a story arc as far as I know. It's just, go do it. Because I won't sell you anything till you go do something for me. And you got this huge, giant, mega outdoor mission. And all you're doing is clicking on one glowy. Like, really? And imagine if you're not a stalker, how long that takes. Alright, so now, finally, he's going to give me some enhancements, I hope. Yep, mutation enhancements level 45. So I will do some shopping, and I'll be back and show you how we have enhanced our powers. Alright guys, we are back. We have 23.5 million influence left. I think we had just over 27, around 27.5 million before I started. Unfortunately, I forgot to write it down. So it took about 4 million to completely trick ourselves out at level 42. It'll probably take about 5 million at level 47. And the total then will be something around 14 million to do the entire character from level 1 to level 50, if you're just doing SOs. So let's look at how we've enhanced. I'm really happy. I was counting as I went to see like how much I've got in each power, and on both sides, our primaries and secondaries. We have 15 damage enhancers and 16 heal enhancers. We have 10 recharge enhancers basically on each side. And so this is really even slotting. We have put equal emphasis onto our attacks and our defenses. Everything is fully slotted with green single origin enhancers. We now have fully slotted 5 of our 6 attacks. Strike now does 111 damage. Slash now does 136. Assassin's Claw does 258. Focus does 143. So Focus is actually not much better than Slash, and then Eviscerate does 230. So it almost does as much as Assassin's Claw if you don't count the assassination buff from doing it, right? Shockwave we haven't done much with. That's next. So I think at level 43 I'm going to finish instant healing and 6-slot that. And then we will add a recharge slot. We may actually add a second Agri slot to Shockwave. I don't know that we need to have it on recharge because I don't need it that much. It's just for situational for AoEs. Then level 44 we're going to get Physical Perfection. At level 45 we're definitely going to put a couple slots on that. We might put a second recharge on Moment of Glory. And then maybe level 46 we will finish Physical Perfection, and then that's done. Still haven't done Shockwave. 47, I don't know what we're going to get, because we don't really need anything after that. Maybe we'll get Revive, and then 48 we'll finish Shockwave. Then I'm not sure what we'll do with... And then 49 we get another power. I don't know what we're going to get. I have no idea. Maybe we'll get Flight or something. I don't know. And then 50 we get our last 3 slots. And that's where we may have a slot to spare for focused accuracy and do 2 more in physical conditioning so that we get all that extra endurance. But those are decisions for the future. We're going to stop for now. I will deal with this annoying defeat 39 and 37, or maybe I'll just auto-complete it, whatever. I'll bring you back at some point in the future after that is done, and we will continue this story arc and do our level 42 experience. And then we'll be done, and then I'll bring you back at level 43. But until next time, I am Scarperlock, and this is City of Heroes Rebirth.